Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the InfoView July webinar. Today's webinar is all about solving a challenge we all know too well, the stress and pressure of end-of-term reports. From manual calculation issues to chasing last-minute marks, the process is often long, frustrating, and error-prone. But what if you didn't have to second-guess your numbers anymore? What if your reports could practically build themselves accurately on time and fully aligned with your curriculum, whether it's GES, Cambridge, or Montessori? That's exactly what we are diving into today. We'll also reveal hidden features and clever shortcuts that even current InfoView users may not know yet. Tools that save time, reduce errors, and give your reports the polish parents expect. So without further ado, we'll leave room for Jeff to come and give us these insights. Let's begin.
Everyone, I hope everybody is doing well. So today we're going to touch base on the end of term wahala that most schools go through. And I am going to share my screen and then we begin the process for that. So let me know and confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so first, before I dive into the process and how our platform allows your school to automate and digitalize your end of term report assessment and reduce the stress for teachers, let me first start off with the different types of report our system support. So here, what you're looking at, let me zoom in further I'll be going from left to right, top down. Okay. So we are talking about academic reports. Now, academic reports, there are two categories of academic report in which InfoView services or platform provides, and every school that has from preschool to JHS will attest to what I'm about to share with you. If your school is only on preschool, you will notice only one aspect of what I'm talking about. If your school is only a primary without preschool, you also notice that. Before I begin, let me change my mouse to a presentation mode so you can see what I'm referring to when I point to something. There are two types of report that every school needs to do. First type of report is a quantitative report. Quantitative report basically means that reports where students are assessed based on numeric quantification like scores. So there will be scores that will be assigned to particular assessment of students, whether it's homework, class test, or midterm or end of term. That information, which is individual assessments based on specific subjects for specific students, students are then assessed and then graded. And then those grades are what is used to then produce a report, either in the middle of the term for midterm or end of term report. So those types of reports are quantitative reports. Then schools where class or students that are in the preschool side, which is from nursery or from creche to nursery 2, or some schools up to KG, they do not do scores. They do what is pretty much referred to as non-academic assessments, where they assess the students based on specific growth indicators, which is developmental indicators like brain development, physical development, emotional development, social development. Those are all indicators that these students in the preschool side, which is from creche to nursery or to KG in some schools, those students are assessed based on that, which is a period of 3 months. So those type of reports are qualitative assessments of students' report. Now I'll go back to the top and then break it further down. On the quantitative report side, our platform allows you, the school, to be able to do a report for any type of assessment. Most schools, what we've noticed, only do report for, let's say, midterm and end of term. But we want to give schools where they want to produce a report. For example, JHS 3 students have done mock 1 and they want to produce a report for every child. Our system allows you to do that. It allows you to do midterm reports. You can do even a class test that you do. Let's say you conduct 3 class tests, and each class test you want to produce a report for every student. The system allows you to do that. And in the system, it's called progress report, which is progress indicators of students over a period of time. Then there's the end of term report or end of semester report that you will do, which this information feeds into the end of term report. But our system goes further, where for quantitative reports, some schools want to see a cumulative record or performance of the student for a whole academic year. So there is also an annual report function or annual report capability that you can produce a report based on 3 different terms or 2 different semesters or across semesters, so that you'll be able to see the bigger picture, how your children did or the students did across a whole academic year. And then from a report development standpoint, you can also have a report process where your teachers will need to use a formative assessment approach, or they can use a summative assessment approach. And each of these assessment approach, we can customize the system to produce a specific type of report for you. So we have a standard report that comes with the system, which we will show you examples of. And we have a hybrid where we can customize both quantitative and qualitative report assessments and also a customization. Now on the preschool side, where you are doing the report for crèche to nursery, where you're doing, qualitative assessment or developmental assessment, you can produce a report on a weekly basis, periodic basis, daily basis, or a termly basis. Gives you that flexibility. We have customers that use our platform to produce a daily report for children in terms of how their eating habit is, how their sleep pattern was, how their mood was, even in school. So our system platform allows you to produce that type of report. But today we'll be focusing more on the end of term report, which is this particular function here. End of term report or end of semester report, how our system, our platform can make your life easy. Either you use the formative assessment option or the summative assessment option. So this gives you an overview in terms of the flexibility you have as a school when you are using InfoView platform to produce your end of term report. What I'll do is, since we are focusing today on end of term, I'll jump straight to the application and walk you through the formative option and the summative option. So here is the InfoView Sims application. When you log in with your username and password, you'll be presented with a search. And in the search, we will first start off with the formative assessment option, okay? So formative assessment, let me open a quick document to walk you through the steps so that you can see what I'm referring to. So I'll go to a document that I have here. Let me look for that. It's in my downloads, and I'll click on end of term report training. So if you look at this process that I'm sharing with you here, pretty much you do your entries of scores. These entries of scores is pretty much based on the test, homework, and exercises the student do. And then if your school does a hybrid report, you do the entry for the non or child developmental assessment. From here onward, which is from the red button or red step onward, from that onward, the system automatically does everything for you automatically. It does the calculation, it does the commenting, it does the ranking, it can generate comment, and then it generates a printout, and then you can send. So from the red step, which is from this step onward, it's all automated once teachers does their input of scores. So I'll go switch back to the application, and then let's look at how teachers do their scores. For starters, if they are doing formative assessment, the teachers will be doing their assessment or entries of scores throughout the term. So it's not the end of term that they will do the entries for homework or exercises. The system provides the option where teachers will be able to do all the classwork exercises, homework, on all the assessments that is going on throughout the term, they can choose to enter all of that. So for now, let me choose, let's say, 4 categories. And 4 categories means that I'm as a teacher, I want to record assessment for class test 1. I want to record assessment for class test 2. And I want to record for midterm. And I want to record for homework. And then now I'll do my assessment. This one was over 20. This one is over 10. This one is over 25. And this one is over 5. Once I've done that, the teacher just needs to input the scores for every student. Automatically, it's graded over the maximum score that the teacher has already indicated. So once the teacher does the entries throughout the term, this is not going to be an end of term activity, but throughout the term. And the end of term, the teacher will only need to enter the final exams. So if I choose a different subject, let's say computing, and I choose one category as the entry, the teacher will just only need to enter the end of term exams, which is, let's say, over 100. And then the teacher will enter the scores for all the students. That's it. Once entries are done for the formative assessment, the system then takes over to do the computation, and we will get to that. Now, for the schools that does summative assessment, you go to report management, and obviously you can then choose the summative option. And in summative option, you can choose the class you want as a teacher to do the entries. You can choose to do multiple entries at once. So I want to do computing, creative art, and English. Well, 3 entries that I want to do, I'll select my name as a teacher. When I select that, I can now do multiple entries for multiple subjects at once. So this one is class test, let's say it's over 50. This also is over 50. And this one is, let's say, 40, and this one is 30. So what summative assessment is that the teacher is given the flexibility to compute or determine the computation for the class test percentage and the exam percentage. While the formative assessment option is a system that is doing that for the teacher. So your school have the option or the flexibility to pick which option that they want to leverage in terms of your report. Now, for us, we always give best practices to our customers that it is suited if you use the formative assessment option, because that gives the parent the ability to see the progress of the child throughout the term rather than wait for only the end of term report. However, every school have different culture, and therefore your parents also have different expectations on the school. So this option is the summative option, where the teacher will do the computation of the percentage of class score and the percentage of exam score. And then once the teacher leaves, again, the system takes over to do the calculation of ranking, the positioning, subject base, and comment. So now let's go to that step to look at that. Okay. So I'll go to the next step here, which is the view final report. View final report, this is where you come as a teacher once you've done your entries, and then you just simply click on calculate report. So let me pick a term. I'll pick a term here, and I'll tap on, let me pick a different term. Give me a second. So now I've done some computations or the input of scores for students. These students, it shows that currently we haven't calculated a report. So I'll click on calculate report. Once I click on that, it says proceed. And when you proceed, you indicate what type of report you want to do. So the system is now going to do the computations and comment for me automatically without me having to manually figure that out. So I'll pick some subjects. So for now, I'll just pick all subjects, for example. And I'll click on calculate. And then I'll say yes. And then the system is doing the calculation of all the input for me. Once it does all the calculation, I click OK, and then it gives me the output of what I want. I can choose to review the output by subject. So for now, let's say I pick English as a subject. If I pick English, based on the input that I did for scores, it automatically does a computation for me. And I can look at, okay, I'm looking at English. I want to look at, let's say, the comments that the system automatically generated for me. I can click on that particular info section and say, show me the subject comment. and the system will show me the comment. So right now it's showing me based on my grading system, this is the comment that the system automatically generated for that particular score of students, scores for each student. So you can see here, this comment is automatically generated for me. The grade is automatically generated, the total score based on the input or raw score input that I have. I can switch to say, okay, instead of looking at English, I want to look at, let's say, computing. So I'll deselect English, and then I'll look for computing. Once I click on, let me find computing, I click on computing, it shows that, okay, computing, I didn't do my inputs. So let me find a different subject. I can look at creative arts. And if I look at creative arts, it will also show that I haven't done my input yet. So this process here gives you ability to be able to analyze all the inputs that have been done, the raw inputs that have been done. I can look at multiple subjects at once. So if I want to look at, let's say, English and mathematics together, I can look at English. This is English section. If I scroll to the right, I can look at mathematics. And if I want to look at multiple subjects, add more subjects, I can add, let's say, computer programming. Let me find a different subject that I have input for. Let me look for one of the Ghanaian languages. So mathematics here. So now I can look at multiple subjects all at once to be able to determine what my review process. Once I have done my review, simply save. And the moment I save, the report automatically is saved into every child's record, or these children's record is saved automatically. The next step is essentially generating a printout. So to generate a printout, you go to the PDF generation process, and you simply select a term, and then you select your class. And once you select your class, then you just pick to say that I want to generate a printout, generate printout, and then the system will prepare PDF or printout for every entry that has been done, and every computations that the system has automatically done for the teacher, including the comments generated. And all you have to do is you just simply click on it, and you can see the report completed. This is a very easy, simple step process where teachers will be able to generate their report in minutes if they are using the formative assessment, which is the option that they do their input of scores throughout the term, and at the end of the term, they only input their final exam scores for every student. If they are using the summative assessment option, again, the teacher will have the option to be able to do the percentage of class score and exam score, input into the system, tell the system to calculate, and then the teacher just produce a report in minutes instead of hours. It all boils down to the readiness of the particular teacher in terms of the scores of students that they have available at their disposal. The reports that you are looking at, I'm switching between different formats, so you understand that the reports that will be produced is customizable. When I was going through showing you this particular presentation, this slide, I said that there are different types of reports. So if you look on the far right here, you see that we have standard, we have hybrid, and we have custom. So that means that for your school, any type of report you have, we can customize it, or we have a standard template that will fit for you. So let me show you the difference between standard, hybrid, and custom. So if you look at this particular report, let me show you this one. This particular report, you can see that it has both scores. Let me zoom in so that you can see clearly. It has scores, and it also has developmental assessment section. This section is a developmental assessment, and this section is based on scores. We have schools where they track both, qualitative assessment and quantitative assessment of students. So therefore, this is a hybrid type of report where it combines both scores, that is the scoring of students, as well as the qualitative assessment in terms of the neatness of the child, the communication skills of the child, the behavior of the child. All of that is a combination of both quantitative and qualitative report combined together, where this shows an example of that. Then I'll talk about standard report. This is a standard report where you have just the scores and then the comment section. So you have the scores, remarks, which is the comment per subject, and then you can have the general attitude, conduct, interest, headmaster remark or teacher remark of a particular report. And then we have example of a custom report. This is an example of a custom report where the teacher is expected to produce, or every subject teacher is expected to write a detailed feedback for the parent based on the child's performance of that subject. So you can see here, this report, the scores are at the top, and then at the bottom, every subject teacher will input their own comment. So this type of report is a custom report. And then it also has an assessment, which is a qualitative assessment of that particular student. So you see here, it has scores, and then have detailed subject comment, and you also have values and ethics ranking or rating for every student. So this type of report is an example of a custom report. A custom report can be any format that your school have, and the system can be tailor-made or customized to meet what your expectation is. We have different schools with different reports that supports IB curriculum, it supports Cambridge, it supports NACA, and it supports even the Nigerian curriculum, because we have schools in Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire that uses our platform for academic report and assessment. So that's what I was referring to earlier when I mentioned that we have standard, hybrid, and custom report that will allow your school to be able to customize your school report based on your needs. Now, this example of a report requires a teacher needs to add a lot more comment than the standard comment that is generated. So where does the system allow for that? The system allows a lot of different types of comment. So let me go back and show you where we can do that. So I'll pick this class. And here you have attitude, conduct, interest, teacher, and principal. So if I click on conduct, I'll be able to select a conduct for every child directly from the system without having to type. This feature is called Comment Bank, where you will be able to set up a list of comments, and then the teacher will just need to pick, and then it will fill in for the teacher. Attitude, the same thing. There's a comment bank you can set up where the teacher will not need to type it. The teacher will just need to select, and then the teacher will, once the teacher selects it, it automatically fills it in for the child. The interest, the same thing. Teacher will just need to select comment list or comment for interest, and then it automatically fills in for every child. The class teacher comment also, you can have a list of comments already preloaded in the system where the class teacher can pick from a list. If the class teacher doesn't want what is in the list, the class teacher can type their own additional detailed comment as long as they want, as detailed as the teacher wants, to be able to show that on the report as well. The same thing comes with the principal comment. Principal comment, you can preload a list where the principal doesn't need to type or enter the comment for every child. They just select from a list. Or the principal can choose to write their own comment for a particular student without having to use the list that already comes preloaded with the system for comment. This is on the report level comment. So what I've shown you is on the report level comment. When I say report level comment, I'm referring to comment under this section here, report level comment. On that report level comment, you can add as many comments as you want. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different level comments. Then on the subject level also, which is subject level, if I pick a subject, let's say creative art, I will be able to look at a comment or type a comment for creative art. Let me find a different subject that has scores. So I will pick English, for example. And if as an English teacher, the English teacher can also add their own comment, a very detailed comment, if they do not want to use the system-generated comment. So the system-generated comment is already generated by the system. So if you want to see that, you just click on these 3 dots, and it will show you the system-level generated comments. Okay. Now, this is a subject-level comment, so every subject teacher can add comment. In addition to the subject comment, the If your school does what is called effort level, which means if the student did not do well, you still want to show that the student put in an effort. So you can also add effort lists or effort comment as well, where teachers can add their own effort comment to give the parent feedback on the level of effort put in by the student as well. If the teacher wants to pick from the list, they can simply pick from the list as well. So there are a lot of areas that you can do customizations and comments for the particular student or particular type of school report that you want to produce. Now, one of the things that is new on our platform, which most schools who are even customers are not familiar with, is this particular feature called Classroom Report. This feature allows the school or a teacher to be able to do analysis and review of report without having to generate a printout. So what do I mean by that? What typically we see teachers do is that they want to review the report based on the printout. This is the printout of a report. But you can also review all your entries and all your computations or all your comments directly in the system before you even generate a printout. So you can do the analysis here by subject. You can do the analysis by report level, where you can see different computations of that. You can click on a particular link and you can review the particular report without having to generate it before you're looking at it. Okay. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of that. And you can also customize what you want to look at. So if I click on add additional result details, I'll be able to see all the computations the system does. So the system does for every particular subject, we compute up to 68 different data points of assessment. That is listed here. You can do the analysis on all the different 68 different data points. For example, we compute if you have class 1A and class 1B. For a subject, we will calculate the position of the student between the two classes. That means we put all the students in class 1 together and we rank them by subject. So that you can be able to analyze all of that information. We'll be able to analyze the average across a given class, which is just class 1A, and you can do an average across between class 1 and class 1B. So all these computations are done where it makes it available. If you want to use it on your report, you can simply put that on your report. The next thing that we realize that a lot of schools are doing is that most of them have a system where it's very rigid. It's not flexible. So if the acquire system and this is the report that comes with it, it cannot be customized. But on our platform, you can customize your report. So if I go to classroom management and I say I want to customize a given class report, I can go to classroom review and I can go on that particular class that I want to customize their report. So let me select my class for this presentation. It's called sales class. I click on that class and I can click on update. When I click on update, I can go to say that I want to change the look, how the report looks like. I can customize that by going to this step and then click on classroom template. I click on this small button here, and here it allows me to customize the look of the report. I can customize the header. This is the header section. So all this information are available in the header. I'm only using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the headers, but I can turn on or turn off additional information where it will show on the header. The header is essentially this part of the report. I can customize that by turning things off and off. I can go to the detail section, which is this particular score section, and then I can also customize that. I can turn things off and on in terms of the 68 different data points that the system calculated. I can choose to display them on the report or hide them from the report. And then there's assessment, which is the qualitative section. The qualitative section, which is this particular section of the report. This section, communication, or this particular section, which is the ethics and value. Those are what is called the qualitative section. For that as well, I can choose to customize by turning things off and on, and the system will either show or hide what I want it to appear on my report. So you have the flexibility to control every aspect of what appears on your report. Out of the 168 different data points that we calculate per student and across subjects, you can turn each one of them on or off for the system to produce a report based on your own taste without having to acquire any new system or tell your publisher. If you are a school that uses paper-based report, tell a publisher to reprint your report. You can just simply turn them on or off to customize a report look, and then it automatically will you generate a printout and it will reflect instantly on your report without having to go through a very expensive process of getting a third-party provider to change your report for you. Now, with that said, we have about 15 minutes left, so I'll leave room for questions so that I'll be able to answer any questions you may have. If you have a question, simply unmute yourself and ask your question so that I can walk through that. All right, with that said, we're going to wrap it up here.
Okay, at this point, we would like to give a big thank you to our amazing speaker, Jeff, for showing us just how much easier end-of-term reports can be with the right tools and a few smart tricks. If you are an InfoView customer and would like to activate this feature, simply send a message on your school's WhatsApp support group. Your customer service representative will contact you and schedule a detailed training session for your team. If you're not an InfoView customer yet, but would like to join the InfoView customer family, we'd love to hear from you. Call or WhatsApp us at 024-838-7629. The number you see on your screen, 024-838-7629. Or you could email us at salesteam@idscorpgh.com. Again, the same number you see on the same email you see on your screen, salesteam@idscorpgh.com. You could also simply scan the QR code or use the link on your screen to book a free demo. We'd be happy to walk you through how InfoView can transform your school. All right, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for joining us, and we really do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.